Good evening. Sorry, I'm getting all set up here. Hi, honey. It's not showing me that anyone's here, so it's interesting that you just commented. Oh, there it goes. Okay. While you're here, before we get okay, will you do me a favor and text this live to your mom, my mom? Actually, let me share this with a few people. Bethany, send it to Bethany too. I'm gonna text a couple people real quick. Will you also text it to Alex? Because I know they like to join and I haven't been on TikTok. So. Is you liking the live telling me okay? Is that you confirming you heard me? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to come in. However, while you're here, let's just kind of run a song, and you let me know if I need to turn the music up or not. I'm like, my voice is not 100% today. Like, I woke up slightly hoarse this morning. I don't know if it was from like that coughing fit I had last night or whatever, but I was trying to practice. I'm only going to do, I think, 3 songs because I was trying to do a 4th one and like the vocals were not having it. So, all right, let me know how this sounds. Oh, let's run that back. Hello. From the beginning, please. Hi, honey. Okay, let me know how it sounds, honey. Let me know if I need to turn it up or not. I may not have it all figured out, but I'm moving forward without a doubt. Coming out of darkness and into the light, my world is colorful and bright. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Now I've got a story to tell. I need to pull up my words. Open wide, I know I'm in for a wild ride. Coming out of darkness and into the light. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Okay, let's try Honest Truth real quick. And I don't know where I'm going to thread these in. We're just going to find out. The chains of a path that I didn't ask for are holding me down, holding me down. It's time to admit that I'm not happy. How does that sound, babe? I've reached my breaking point with everything, crying every day, crying, crying. Okay. All right. Yeah, my voice is hanging on by a thread, it feels like. Okay, well, then we should be good. So I've done the other two before, but I'm actually going to do 3D this time as well. And I'm super excited for that because I love 3D and it does not get the love that it deserves. Anyway, welcome in. Hello. If you're new here, my name is Madeline. I am from North Carolina and I am a singer, songwriter, storyteller. I just love it. I think there's so much power in our stories and not only for us to heal, but to light the way for other people. So I am here tonight to read a chapter that I wrote. So a little bit of backstory. I quit my 9 to 5, so to speak, right? Because that wasn't my exact hours, but I quit my 9 to 5 back in 2022 after being incredibly miserable. Hi, I'm good. How are you? I quit my 9 to 5 back in 2022 and started a business. I didn't know what I was doing. Thank you. Didn't know what I was doing. And that's okay. I just knew I was following my heart and what I should have been supposed to have been doing. And I got the opportunity to write about my story in something called a multi-author book. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's where multiple authors get together and write a chapter, and there's like a common theme in the book. And so I got to write a chapter in a multi-author book. I currently offer it for free as a free resource, a free PDF for anyone to read. So if you would like a copy of it, oh, I'm sorry. If you would like a copy of it, there's a link on my page where you can sign up to get the story if you want to read it yourself. But I'm here to read it for you tonight. So I will go ahead and get started. If anybody has any questions throughout and you want to ask, just drop them in the comments and I'll, pause when appropriate to answer questions. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read this. Primarily the reason why I wanted to, sorry, my computer's not working the way it should. Okay. Primarily the reason why I wanted to get on here and read my chapter and share my story is because I normally go live on Tuesday nights. I normally sing, but I just wanted to switch it up. And I wanted to be able to, because this live is going to go on my YouTube channel once I'm done. So I wanted to be able to have a recording of me reading this chapter and sharing my story that I can, let people come back to and that I can have to repost and repurpose later. So this is chapter 12 of a book called Business on Purpose, Volume 2 by Danielle Mendoza. And it's a collection of inspiring stories of women overcomers who are changing the world. So I was in chapter 12 of volume 2 of this book, and my chapter is called Shake the Pressure Off. So, like I said, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I will answer them when I can. Have you ever felt the weight of everyone's approval looming over you like a dark storm cloud? I can say I'm very familiar with that feeling. It was especially present when I was nearing graduation and choosing a career. It's safe to say I had no idea what I was doing with my life at the time. From the time when I was just learning to talk, everyone started asking me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The walls of pressure began to close in on me before I was even old enough to realize it. I'd always been a bright student and have prided myself on my sharp grades and keen intellect. With that in mind, the thought of graduating and getting a higher education seemed like something I was always expected to do. Sorry, I'm messing with stuff. In the spring of 2016, high school graduation was knocking at my door. The freedom was so close, I could smell it. I thought I knew the long awaited answer to that age old question: what do I want to be when I grow up? I was barely scratching the surface of adulthood, but I felt like in the blink of an eye, as soon as I turned that tassel from left to right, or sorry, from right to left. I read that wrong. I never know which direction it's supposed to go. I thought I knew the long awaited answer to that age old question: what do I want to be when I grow up? I was barely scratching the surface of adulthood, but I felt like in the blink of an eye, as soon as I turned that tassel from right to left, my head was supposed to flood with all the knowledge I would ever need. I had this expectation that years worth of wisdom would just zap into my brain and I'd be on my way. Boy, was I wrong. The medical field had always piqued my interest, so it made sense that my plans were leading me down the path to college the following semester. I planned on studying to become an occupational therapist. Who remembers those days? If you know me, you remember those days. What I didn't plan for was getting plagued with a chronic illness when I was 16, which then spilled over into my early adult years. I struggled a lot with my illness throughout high school. The smell of sanitized doctors' offices haunted me, and the anxiety of being undiagnosed constantly kept a tight grip on my throat. A full day of balancing school and symptoms would leave me in a comatose state where I would lay in my bed praying for my battery to recharge just so I could get some homework done. Although it was tough, it was manageable, so I was ready to see what college held for me. I was excited for the new freedoms of the college class schedule that would hopefully help me pace myself and not use up all my energy at once. Jumping into the spring of 2017, it took me almost 4 excruciating years of being sick to finally get a diagnosis. As I was wrapping up my second semester in college, my hands painted with the pale yellow lighting of a classroom, I stared down at my phone with laser focus. I couldn't believe the text I was reading. My mom had sent me a message letting me know I had tested positive for Lyme disease. As a chronically ill person, you learn to have the opposite reaction to most test results. Because I was so sick with so many symptoms, each negative test result put a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. This meant I was that much more distanced from finding answers and getting help. Reading this news, thousands of dollars worth of testing later, relief washed over me like a cool wave. I could feel my eyes getting ready to release years worth of happy tears that I'd been saving up for this exact moment. I finished my semester strong with a new boost of energy, and I went home for the summer to begin traveling for my treatment. My treatment was extended into my sophomore year of college, and I entered what felt like a new era, a semester where I was diagnosed and treated for my illness. I could finally try to close the chapter on my health struggles and push forward with my career plans. But it wasn't that easy. Almost halfway through the new semester, I was really struggling. Dragging my tired body to class felt like climbing a mountain. I started to wonder if I should even finish the semester. After frantically and impulsively telling my mom that I had to leave immediately, she presented me with the idea of dropping half my class load and finishing out the semester. I stubbornly agreed, and the stress I was feeling slowly started to melt away. I made it to the end of the semester, said goodbye to my university campus, and traveled home towards my new adventure. I had no idea what was next for me. The last few years of my life had been spent attaching my identity to the occupational therapy career path. I had this deep feeling in my gut that told me I didn't want to go back and pursue my bachelor's degree. I felt empty inside. The only piece of my identity I had left was my disease, and I knew I felt too run down to try and get another education. At that point, all I wanted to do was survive, so I came to terms with the fact that it was time for me to enter the workforce. My brain felt like a blank canvas as I struggled to imagine myself in any other career. I couldn't begin to picture myself on a path that didn't require a college degree. My parents pulled me out of my wandering by telling me I had to go back to school. I was still turned off by the thought of a university, so I hopelessly figured my options were narrow. I began looking at programs at local community colleges and stumbled upon a nearby medical trade school. I was truly shocked by this finding because this school was right in my backyard, but I had never heard of it before. The thought of going to such a focused program sent a chill down my spine. I was riddled with nerves as a flood of flashbacks came from my previous semester. I didn't want to feel like I failed again, but I was being drawn to this school like a magnet to metal. My health had barely improved, but it was enough encouragement to feel like this was the right next step for me. I enrolled in the X-ray program and my performance exceeded my own expectations. Even though it was a harder program because of the focused nature of the course, I stayed engaged with all of my classes. I didn't feel like I was wasting time or money on classes that I didn't need because the curriculum was only designed with classes relevant to each program of study. I finally found the school that was right for me. I was able to see my education all the way through this time, and I graduated, secured a job, and passed my X-ray registry all within the same month. I was also fortunate enough to buy my own house less than 6 months after my graduation. I was finally moving on with my life and taking one step further into adulthood. Embarking on this new journey allowed me to embrace a challenge bigger than I thought I would ever be able to face. I never knew, being chronically ill, that I could succeed in such a rigorous program. I also quickly fell in love with the idea of trade schools, but along with that love, I felt a little anger too. A cocktail of emotions surfaced anytime I remembered that even though such a great school was so close to home, I knew nothing about it before I discovered it on my own. I didn't realize how passionate I was about the trade school option until my anatomy teacher from high school asked me to return to my alma mater and speak to her classroom of science-loving students. She'd seen my continued success and wanted me to share it with them. With inspiration pumping through my veins, I accepted and nervously stood in front of attentive teenage stares to speak my truth. Knowing how much my focused schooling had helped me succeed so far, I wanted to share with other students the possibilities that were present outside of the traditional university route. They were grateful for the knowledge that I passed on to them, but shortly down the road, I would become the more grateful one for this experience. Entering the workforce as a new grad was terrifying, and I'd be lying if I said otherwise. The imposter syndrome was real because I went from being a student with a tech over my shoulder, approving every x-ray, to being responsible for my own patients and my own imaging. It was a lot of pressure, but I adapted quickly. As a new grad, I noticed I had an insane amount of energy that I channeled towards work. I had to prove I could function as a real x-ray technologist, that I could keep up with my seasoned coworkers, and that I could gain all the experiences and make all the money. This was a great drive to have during the training period, but I allowed it to leak into the rest of my work life. Something I could have never predicted was graduating into a pandemic. I enrolled at the trade school in 2018, way before the world was smacked in the face with a global health crisis. I was blessed to miss a good bit of the pandemic in the beginning, since I was still a student, but we entered back into clinical rotations in the summer of 2020. I worked as a student in the hospital up until graduation in 2021. Then I was a full-on tech in the challenging world of mid-pandemic healthcare. I worked through the thick of the wave that came with a new variant of the virus as soon as I graduated. I'll never forget the smell of bleach on my cold equipment or the way the PPE stuck to my sweaty skin as I went from room to room in the ICU completing chest x-rays. I was running my already damaged body into the ground daily with my workload. The longer I worked as an x-ray tech in the hospital, the more I realized this job was not providing for me what I wanted out of life. I felt like an outsider looking in on the rest of my life going by. Because my graduating class was thrown into an ongoing pandemic, there were many places that were facing serious staffing shortages. My workplace became one of them. I felt like I was married to my job, and my life consisted of work, sleep, and repeat. I didn't get to enjoy much of anything outside of that. I was missing out on everything else just for the sake of my career. I had a feeling it was time for a change, but I wasn't sure what that change looked like. I didn't know if I wanted to stay in the medical field anymore. I wasn't sure what I would even do if I decided to walk away from it all. The same familiar lump of anxious confusion sat in the pit of my stomach once again. Truthfully, I was at my breaking point. I was miserable, crying every day, and looking for a way out. I felt stuck in my job. I'd reached what felt like another dead end. It was time to let go of my x-ray identity and find something new. The job hunt was different this time. After dealing with a situation that was horrible for my work-life balance, I had more of an idea about what I was looking for. My body ached for something that gave me more freedom. I really disliked having to answer to other people and ask for personal time off. I felt bad about calling out sick, and I wasn't very fond of the strict work schedule. I had this gut feeling that I wanted to try working for myself, but I was still incredibly lost, totally unsure of how I could bring my own business to life. I had no business ideas at the time. I wasn't crafty. I didn't have any brilliant product to sell. And as I was searching my brain to find a clue, I remembered that this wasn't the first time I'd been here. As I reflected on when I dropped out of college, I realized there were previous times where I struggled to find what career matches best with me. I couldn't understand why this was a constant struggle for me. After talking to some of my friends and learning about their career experiences, I confidently knew that I was not the only one who ever felt this way. A lot of my peers had their own run-ins with loss of direction after high school. We faced the challenges of what felt like a lack of continued career guidance. We all could have used someone to walk us through this growing up process. Sometimes, even when you think you have life all figured out, things can take an unexpected turn. There didn't seem to be very many available career resources for those of us who no longer had access to guidance counselors. We were all just flailing through life trying to figure out how to be an adult with a career and a stable income. I decided it was time to quit my job and try to pursue a better career and life for myself. It was a risky decision that I was terrified of making, but I realized money wasn't everything to me, and I would regret it in the future if I didn't give my own business a shot now. Nothing could be worse than the misery I was already drowning in by forcing myself to stay in a job that was clearly not for me. My peers and I were tired of feeling lost and confused, so I decided to do what was within my power to change that for future generations. There was a huge gap in the support we were given after high school, and I knew it was up to me to fill that gap in the best way that I could. After experiencing multiple career changes, working a job that drained me, and making the tough decision of quitting my job to start a business, I finally became clear on what it was that I wanted out of a job. Had I taken the time to think on those things before choosing my career, my path may have been less difficult. I now understand the importance of reflection before selection. The key to finding a job that aligns with your interests is to understand those interests first. Finding a job that meets your needs, you must know what those needs are. That's something I wasn't clear on before diving headfirst into my career paths, and it showed. How could I go after what I wanted if I was never truly clear on what that was in the first place? Thanks to my experiences, I now help, well, this is me speaking in the past. Okay, I don't do this anymore. Thanks to my experiences, I now help students and recent graduates find a career path that aligns with their interests and promotes a life of fulfillment. I help others through the confusion of life after graduation, working with them to gain confidence in their career journey. The goal for them is to not have to face the dead ends like I did, but even if they do, I'll be there to help them turn themselves around and find a new path. I wanted to become the go-to guide for others that I so desperately needed for myself. I was inspired by my experiences talking to high school students about graduation plans, and I was surprised by how much they benefited from it. I knew that if I continued to do this work, especially one-on-one, that it could make a huge impact. I now primarily offer personalized coaching services to help each student explore their interests, their deal breakers, their strengths, and their weaknesses. I help them convert that information into a career plan so that they're confident in the path they're pursuing. I don't currently do that anymore. I will say that again. Students start applying for colleges between the ages of 16 and 18. And that's such a young age to have to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. I barely even experienced life at that point, and I had no idea who I was as a person. As I grew and gained experiences, my needs and interests changed, and so did my career choices. I wanted future graduates to know that whether you're choosing your first career path or changing to a new one, you should always trust your gut. You have all the answers you'll ever need. You must look within yourself and trust that you won't steer yourself wrong. You're always right where you need to be in life, and things will continue to work out for you on your own special timeline. So shake the pressure off, take a deep breath, and relax. There's no handbook on how to be an adult, and life looks different for all of us. And that is the end of my chapter. Realistically, I could have skipped that second to last paragraph where I talk about what I do, because I don't currently do that anymore. For those of you who don't know me and don't know my journey so far, I did quit my job, my hospital job, to start a business, and I started a college and career coaching business. I did that for like a little less than a year. I think I wanted something. Thank you. Have you not heard this? This is my chapter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, so thoughts. I think I knew when I quit my job that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just couldn't think of what I wanted to do yet. It hadn't come to me yet. And I truly think like I was so fired up from my experience of like being in that job and being like, what did I get myself into, that I was like, okay, like I can think of all these things I should have considered before I got here. And if I would have had someone to tell me these things, like maybe I would have not, hit this dead end, so to speak. So that's what inspired me to do college and career coaching. But like I said, I think I knew it wasn't my forever thing, but I did know that it was going to be what made me confident enough to quit my job and get my foot in the door of entrepreneurship. And so when I was doing my college and career coaching stuff to help ends meet, I was door dashing and dog sitting. I've always dog sat. That's been a business, I guess you could say, of mine for like at least the last 10 or 12 years. So I was dog sitting, I started door dashing, and, I survived. Like I didn't know what to expect, because a lot of people are scared to quit their job, especially like a 9 to 5, and making the transition to work for themselves, because a lot of people see that regular, expected, steady income as a safety net. And to me, like having that safety net wasn't good enough for the things that I was being put through. And I was able to show myself how resourceful I could be and how much opportunity there is to make money out there on your own, and not have to compromise or sacrifice my sanity, my physical, mental, and spiritual well-being for a job. And not everybody is in that situation, because granted, like, not married, don't have kids, don't have pets, didn't have any of that at the time. So I could more confidently make that leap than maybe, other people that do have other people in their lives to provide for. So I am grateful that I experienced that when I had little responsibilities. But I mean, I did have a house payment. So, I mean, it was still scary that I was like, all right, well, like, of course I'm never going to let myself like lose my house, but how am I going to get this money every month? Because ugh, it was hard. It was very scary. And so yeah, I did the college and career coaching thing for a while, but that burnt me out, pretty quickly too. And I stepped away from that. And I was like, I'm just going to pay my bills for a little bit. Like, I'm just going to pay my bills. Just going to DoorDash and dog sit and pay my bills and take a break and take a breather and not make my brain have to figure out what's next. Just give myself time to relax. And I did that for a little bit. And then I had the opportunity to write and record and produce my own music with Dontavius Harris. And that was, I mean, overall, that was like the best thing I could have done, because I had never written my own music before. Like, I've always been a writer. If you ask my mom, I don't know if she's in here or not, I've always been a wordy girl. I've always been a writer. I've always expressed myself with writing. I mean, obviously you can see by this chapter that I wrote, that I enjoy writing. But I had never applied that to music, and I've always been a singer, always been into music. So getting the opportunity to do my first album, oh, sorry, I went idle on the computer. Did I say that right? Whatever, ignore me if I didn't. But I had the first opportunity to record my music, and that was life-changing, because it showed me, like, I've always loved sharing my story. I've always been an open book. I'm not scared to share my experiences, good, bad, and ugly. But I had never done it through that type of creative medium, I guess you could say. And so it was life-changing. And like, there have been so many like dominoes that have fallen since having that experience, and I'm very grateful, because like, I mean, I can truly say that was a life-changing experience. Anyway, so actually, when I wrote my first album, it was about this experience. It's called Coming Into Color, and it pretty much walks you through exactly what this chapter is walking you through, in the sense that, like, I started with graduation. I graduated. Everything is going good. Hey, I finally got to say I graduated. I got the job. I got the house. Like, things are going great. But I'm starting to feel like something feels off here. Because I immediately, when I started working, started a quarter life crisis. Because I got to work, and I was doing my training, and that was exciting and all that. But then I kind of was like, once I started to get used to everything and started to get settled in my position, I was kind of like, wait, this is it? This is what I'm supposed to do for the next 40 years? Like, I was like, yikes, I can't be doing this for the next 40 years. Yeah, so I immediately was like, all right, I guess we'll see if it gets any better. And I mean, I worked in that job for 1.5 years, so I did survive for a little while, but I mean, it was a slow burn. Like, It was a slow cooker. Some people use the expression pressure cooker, but I'll say it was a slow cooker because it took me a while to get to that point. But once I got to that point and I was done, I was done. And I did make a plan. I stayed longer than I wanted to because I planned my quitting around receiving a bonus, because self-explanatory. I'm gonna get my bonus. But anyway, so that album walks you through all of that. So I wanted to do a couple of songs tonight. And these are my original songs. Like I said, I wrote these. They're from my album. I wanted to do a couple songs tonight that I'm going to do 3 actually, that just kind of explain or I guess showcase what my album is about, and I'll explain a little bit about them. But this first song that I'm going to do is called Coming Into Color. It's the title track, so it's kind of like a overview, I guess you could say, of what the whole album is about. So I don't think I need the lyrics, but I'm going to pull them up just in case. It's been a while. And I'm going to read the lyrics because this song is pretty short. So, here we go. Maybe. Yep, there we go. Okay, so the lyrics to this song state, I may not have it all figured out, but I'm moving forward without a doubt. Coming out of darkness and into the light, my world is colorful and bright. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Now I've got a story to tell. My eyes are starting to open wide. I know I'm in for a wild ride. And then the chorus repeats. So that's the song I'll be doing. Like I said, it's a kind of an overview of this entire album and my journey of graduating, or dropping out of college, finding a new school, graduating, getting burnout, quitting my job, starting a business. It gives you that whole overview. Oh, just kidding. Let me wind that back. But yes, this song is called Coming Into Color, the title track of my album, Coming Into Color. Okay, why did it go back again? Bear with me. I may not have it all figured out, but I'm moving forward without a doubt. Coming out of darkness and into the light, my world is colorful and bright. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Now I got a story to tell. My eyes are starting to open wide. I'm in for a wild ride. Coming out of darkness and into the light. My world is colorful and bright. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Now I got a story to tell. No more grayscale, only vivid detail. Now I've got a story to tell. Period. I love that one. That was produced, I don't know if Bethany's in here, my boyfriend's sister's husband. That track was produced by him. Love that. So yes, Coming Into Color. You can stream that on literally any platform that you get music on. Coming Into Color by Madeline Swan. You can find all my original music on any streaming platform under my name, Madeline Swan. So the next song I do have a little bit to say. So if you were here when I was just reading that chapter, I was I was miserable in my job. I mean, miserable is like the nicest way to put it. When I say I was crying every day, like I legitimately mean I was crying every day, because also I didn't mention, but I worked second shift because when I first started my x-ray job, I worked PRN. And for those of you who don't know what PRN means, it means as needed. So basically I made my own schedule, and that was like the every day. That was the enticing part of that job, was making your own schedule. And you worked all 3 shifts. So because I was in training and I actually like got trained on all 3 shifts, they would try to work me on all 3 shifts. And so there were some times that I would work first, second, and third shift all in one week, and my schedule was all types of backwards. And it was, I thought, me getting burnout was because I had an irregular schedule. So I was like, cool, let me try to get a full-time position when it opens. And so eventually one opened, and I started working second shift, which was my preferred shift because I'm a morning person, but I don't like to be a busy morning person. I like to be a stay in bed morning person and slowly start my day. And so having to wake up to an alarm and immediately get up and get ready for work is like the worst. Even now, like I don't enjoy, but it was the worst thing for me. And then if you've ever worked first shift at a hospital, like you're more likely to have like the outpatients come in, you're more likely to have like the scheduled surgeries. So for the x-ray department, the first shift means that you're a little bit busier because you've got outpatients, scheduled exams, and you've got walk-in outpatients that can come, and you've got surgery scheduled, and then you've got the ER that can pop off at any time. You've got inpatients that can pop off at any time. So it was really like I didn't like first shift. So I got my second shift job, and I thought that was going to make me feel better. But in reality, when I worked second shift, it didn't make me feel better, because then I was like kind of on the opposite schedule as everybody else. Like people would be coming, all my friends and family are coming home from work. I'm going to work. And then I'm coming home from work at 1 a.m. and people are asleep. And then people are getting up for work and going into work, and I'm asleep. Like it was like the schedules didn't mix. And then like when you're like, oh, well, I mean, you could have weekends together, right? And in theory, yes, but it's like Friday nights, because I'm second shift, I'm working Friday nights when it's people's weekend. And then we have Saturday. And then Sunday nights, people are getting ready to go back to work, but that's like my Saturday night. And then, or Sunday night, sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Saturday night. Yeah, that made sense. Anyway, that was still a weekend for me. And then Monday morning, people are back at work, and I'm kind of chilling, and my weekend is ending still on Monday morning. So it really like, I had to cram so much into a weekend, and I couldn't do it all. It just like really started to weigh on me. And especially like taking into account the chronic illness thing, like my body was tired. And so I had to rest in between shifts, or I would not have survived my shifts. So I didn't even feel like I could do anything during the days when I was like waiting to go to work. And then on the weekends, it just felt like I was cramming literally everything in. So I definitely felt unbalanced, and that's what caused a lot of this miserable feeling. And like I was crying, and like I would cry literally every day on the way to work. And then even on the weekends, I would cry because I just felt so imbalanced, and because I knew I had to go back to work. Like when you're in a situation like that, when something is literally so dreadful, like it is the worst feeling ever. So that's what inspired this next song. It's called Honest Truth. And I don't know what I just clicked. I'll just read some of the lyrics so that you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I just the song is about me having to like have a come to Jesus meeting with myself and say, look, girl, you are miserable and you have got to do something. Like something has got to give. You cannot do this anymore. So the lyrics say, the chains of a path that I didn't ask for are holding me down. It's time to admit that I'm not happy. I've reached my breaking point with everything, crying every day. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself. This path isn't clear and I don't like the cards I've been dealt. I try to keep my head above water, but really I'm drowning. I can't keep putting myself through all this. I can't hide it or fake it much longer. It's killing me now. My world lost its little spark, and it's causing me so much doubt. Feels like life is a puzzle that I can't figure out. Chasing after a dream that I thought was mine, I lost myself trying to find happiness. So I will be singing Honest Truth, like I said. This is available on all streaming platforms under my name, Madeline Swan. So get it where you listen. The chains of a path that I didn't ask for are holding me down, holding me down. It's time. It's that I'm not happy. I've reached my breaking point with everything, crying every day, crying every day. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself. This path isn't clearer. Oh no, I don't like the cards I've been dealt. Ooh, I try to keep my head above the water, but really I'm drowning, and I can't keep putting myself through all this. I can't, oh no, hide it or fake it much longer, and it's killing me now. Said it's killing me now. Oh, my world lost its little spark, and it's causing me so much doubt. Feels like life is a puzzle that I just can't figure out. Oh, chasing after a dream that I thought was mine. Oh, but I lost myself trying to find happiness. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself. This path isn't clearer. I don't like the cards I've been dealt. Oh, chasing after a dream that I thought was mine. Oh, but I lost myself trying to find happiness. Happiness. Where's my happiness? Trying to find my happiness. help me find my happiness. Ooh, ooh, please help me find my happiness. Thank you, honey, for being my biggest supporter. What part gives you chills every time? Where I do that run? Ooh, my throat was so dry towards the end of that. That was Honest Truth by me, Madeline Swan. Find it on all streaming platforms. And the last song I'll do before I close is called 3D. And this is the ending song of my album. And it's bringing the story full circle. So it's, let me pull up the lyrics so I can explain to you why it's bringing the story for full circle. It says, my path was derailed. I felt like I had failed. I couldn't shake the pain. I was going insane. Knew what I had to do if I was going to make it through. Something, oh, the ooh, that part. Knew what I had to do if I was going to make it through. Something had to change. I needed to rearrange. Always been destined. Knew deep within me. I'm still determined to be all I can be. Now I'm driven with a clear view. My destiny's near. I just have to push through. So this was like, you know, I quit my job. I'm realizing things are going to be okay. I'm on a better path. I can do this. Here's the lyrics of the chorus. Dawning a brand new day, learning to find my own way. I'm determined, destined, driven. The echoes of doubt fade away as I learn to ignore what they say. And let me tell you, I had to ignore what they say because there was a lot of naysayers. Because when people see you doing something terrifying that they wish they could do, it scares them for you. And people projected their fear onto me. I was scared, but I was, okay. I was nervous and scared, but I was making the right decision and I was determined. But there were a lot of people that were shaking in their boots saying, this is a bad idea. And here I am 3 years later doing just fine. And people said, you need a steady income. You need blah, blah, blah. I provided all that for myself. People were like, well, you lose your benefits. I provided my own benefits. Like, you can do it. You can literally make it as an entrepreneur. People do it every day. Like, people were just scared, shivering in their timbers. Okay. Thank you, honey. They were shivering in their timbers and on my behalf, which I appreciate because, like, I think it's because they cared about me, but I also think they were just wanting to project their own fears. But at the end of the day, most everybody was supportive. And I've had so many people tell me, like, I'm so proud of you that you did that. It couldn't be me, but I think it could. But that's a story for another time. Anyway, so yeah, I had to learn to ignore what they say. Coming from Grayscale, and this second verse is like callbacks to other tracks on the album. Coming from Grayscale, that's a track on my album. To Colorful Detail, Graduation taught me. Graduation is a track on my album. The Honest Truth that I need, I just sang Honest Truth. New Hope was revealed. I have a song called Reveal on here. My strength I could feel, had to shed my skin, a fresh start rushing in. And then same pre-chorus, same chorus. Bridge, life is no longer a drawing on paper, talking about 2D. It's colorful and three-dimensional. What I've always deserved coming to fruition, I just had to put myself in position. So I'm going to sing this last song and then tell y'all good night. But yeah, I really love this song. I think it deserves more attention, which is why I'm singing it. And I'm going to go ahead and start it because it's got a long intro. But yeah, this song, like, brings it all together, and it's like the happy ending, you know? And every story needs a happy ending. And then the drop, the music, the bass, the everything drop at the end is fire. So my path was derailed. I felt like I had failed. I couldn't shake the pain. I was going insane. Knew what I had to do if I was gonna make it through. Something had to change, needed to rearrange. Always been destined, knew deep within me I'm still determined to be all I can be. Now I am driven with a clear view. My destiny's near, I just have to push through. Whoa, whoa, I just have to push through. Dawning a brand new day, learning to find my own way. I'm determined, destined, driven. The echoes of doubt fade away as I learn to ignore what they say. I'm determined, destined, driven, coming from grayscale to colorful detail. Graduation taught me the honest truth that I need. New hope was revealed, my strength I could feel. I had to shed my skin, a fresh start rushing in. Always been destined, knew deep within me I'm still determined to be all I can be. Now I am driven with a clear view. My destiny's near, I just have to push through. Whoa, whoa. I just have to push through. Now that life is no longer drawing on paper, it's colorful and three-dimensional. What I always deserved coming to fruition. I just had to put myself in position. Find my own way. I'm the echoes, the echoes, the echoes, they fade away. Ignore what they say. Determined, destined, driven. Yes, this song feels like my happy ending, dude. I love this song. Love, love, love. It's pretty cool to like not only be able to make your own music, but then like Jacob said, like these songs slap. Like and Jacob was a part of this, so he shares that sentiment in like creating this music and being able to enjoy it. So these songs, banger. This album needs the production that it deserves so that it can go triple platinum, okay? Because the art is there, baby. The art is there. Anyway, thank you for tuning in tonight. Super excited that I got to share my story and just a little piece of my life that shows who I am, what I've been through, and how I got here today. Yes, baby, you are a little biased, but that's fine. That's fine. But anyway, so thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope this can inspire you to like pursue the life of your dreams, because you deserve it. And life is short, and way too short to be miserable, especially for a job. And that's my 2 cents. But yeah, so I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.